Hi everybody, welcome back to Drumfills Kafé Season 7. If you didn't know, we already have done 6 seasons before. A lot of good artists have been interviewed. I really suggest you to go check out the website, drumfillscafe.com. We have more than 300 interviews in 4 languages, mainly French, English, because I'm Canadian and I think it was very important to have like those 2 languages but we still have in Spanish and in Portuguese. Spanish is very important to me too because I think in North America include Spanish too. So it's something, if you don't speak the language, you can always discover or practice that language. But for example, we got Horacio Hernandez interviewed like last year, but it's in Spanish. So if you're curious, you can go check it out. Other things that people didn't know. We're not just doing interviews. We do a lot of things. We have contests. We have like a editorial. Article. You can go in the texto and edito section. You can go check it out. There are different texts from the past years because we are already in our 3rd years. Time fly crazy, and please, if you have suggestion, contact us. Someone from the team, because sometimes people think it's me. They write like me, like, hey, Eric, what's up? But we're like 4 official members, plus we have like around 6 collaborators and people just managing emails. So it's more like on personal emailing. But if you have suggestions, please send us to us. Or if you want to talk with someone directly, you can just tag the name and someone will forward your message. And last thing, we have a school coming out. So we have a part called like the Drumfills Kafé Music School. You can check it out. It's brand new. It's not finished. We're like on progress. It's possible it won't be working before like April of this year. But if you're curious, I really suggest you to go check it out. So let's go to the artist of the day, actually, the feature one. A lot of things I was reading is by you. There's a lot of things to say. I would just scroll down and talk about the major point. It's from Montreal. He studied with a lot of great drummer, Lorne Kelly, Chuck Burrows, Magella Cormier, Dom Famularo, Jeff Hamilton, Russ Miller, Walfredo Reyes Jr., Kenwood Denard when he was in New York at Drummer Collective. Yeah, he did a lot of good contests. He was the first place by 1 stroke at the fastest drummer contest in Montreal, the WFD. After that, he's been like a sonor endorsee for many years. So 2011, he did some drum clinics in Long and McQuaid. After that, he played with different bands. I will switch page because there's a lot of notes here. He's teaching professionally since '95. He has a bachelor degree in music from Carleton University. And after that, he has different ideas. I really want to talk with him, and I think it's important to bring him right now. Hello, Bryan Valeriani. How are you doing?
Hey, good, Eric. How are you doing?
So thank you for to accept the invitation. I think it was cool because I know your name since a long time, and I know you were teaching for a long time too, but I didn't know you teach that for so long and you have so many students too. So I think this is something I would like to talk with you today.
Yeah.
So
sure,
I think it's frozen. Sorry, I think the internet's cut a little bit. You're back now. It was like an internet connection. So sorry, we didn't hear you. Can you repeat it because it was cutting?
Oh, I was just saying it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, that's what I do. I teach. That's my main thing.
Perfect, man.
And I love it.
It's super nice because I checked out and you have different ideas. I would like we talk about. For example, you already mentioned like when you are teaching student, you want they live an experience. You don't want they have to play the beat number 4 on the page 5, and they really want to enjoy it because you want to build connection with your student. How important is that for you? Because I think it's a very important point for everybody, or teacher out there or any student out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I just think that it doesn't make sense, and like you want to go into a lesson, especially, most of my students, I guess, we see a lot of younger people, teenagers, some people are just starting, and to just deliver information is one thing. We have to do that, but we also have to deliver it in a motive that's going to make them enjoy it, and more than just, okay, well, I got my notes and I'm going to go practice. They have to enjoy the whole atmosphere, and the whole experience has to be positive. So that's always something in the back of my head when I'm teaching, is trying to stay positive, keep it a fun time for everyone, regardless of how experienced they are or how inexperienced they are. It's got to be fun, and it needs to be, there has to be a rapport to develop,
Yeah. And do you have any different approaches? Because I know you have so many, like, so long experiences. You started in 95, so you have you teach it with for so many people, so I am sure you can read different cards. You see that guy coming in, you're going to work with that way. You see that girl coming in, at that age. So how you really scan people and your student for really connect with them at first?
I think you just talk to them. You got to see what they're there for. Like, ask them, simple, like, what makes you want drum lessons? What got you into it? What are you here for? And what do you hope to get out of your drum lessons? And obviously this depends too on their experience level. If they're, very advanced or very beginner, that will affect, what you're going to do. But you need to find out what's their goals, what they want to do. And from there, you just work with what they tell you. And, like, I have goals for the students. I want them to progress and be able to play drums and be able to be good at it. Right? So I try to give my goals, those are the technical things, and, all the knowledge I want to give them to. But I can't just do that, because I got to sort of respond to what their goals are. So I get their goals, and then I moderate them. So I give them, my goals, go sneak them in at the same time that we're working their goals, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And it works usually quite well. Yeah, but everyone's different.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everyone's different for sure.
Yeah, everybody is different for sure, but at the same time, it's good. Yeah, because you don't want to be number two of everything. Everybody is a number one, but at different levels, and like you said, everybody has different goals. And I'm sure, for example, I will say an example for the people listening. For someone is going to take lessons with you, and that person really want to go college, and is like 16 years old, and he want to grow up as a drummer, and he want to have a career. Of course, you will manage that person with different way than someone is coming and is 50 or 48, and he only want to play like a ECDC song during the weekend. You don't manage those people. And at the same time, the different energy. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. And you can't force it on anyone. You got to sort of see what their goals are, and you try to get them to achieve their goals, and you're totally right. Like, the person who's going to go off to university and wants to make a career out of it, the serious level goes up, and then we start putting more exercises, more, real fundamental things that have to be addressed, those types of things. And I don't think I'm not harder on them, but I give them more, and it's a bit more. They might feel like there's more work in the lesson, and because they're more realistic about it. And what I love about all that is, like, you always get a perspective. So you learn, as you're doing it, after so many years, you learn this approach works for this type, this approach doesn't work for this type. And and that's part of the fun of it. I love it, and I think this is also important as a teacher, is for us to, like, teaching for me is not my fallback plan. I love it.
Okay.
Like, I love teaching as much as I love performing and playing drums, almost as much as playing drums. Like, my motivation was always to play drums. But then really soon after I got into it, I've always loved to sort of teach people. And so, I love it. And I find it's fun to see people just get better at it. And if they're enthusiastic about it as well, that makes my life so much easier. And that's the best thing. Yeah.
You just said something so true, so good. You said it's your backup plan to teach, or something you like to do in it. And And this, I think it's important too, because like I said, there's teacher listening at this interview and student. And so I think it's good as a teacher. I would put the perspective as a teacher. It's good to put some limitation of number to some people. They will teach like 40 hours per year per week, and they love it. And for me, for example, I don't want to take more than 8 to 10 students per week of 1 hour. So maybe 8 to 10 hours a week is my
Yeah,
maximum, because if not, I don't enjoy it, because I do so many other things. Um, and it's important to have different plans, but they're not necessarily backup plans. They're different options, because we're a musician. Back in the like I don't know, like in the 70s,
yeah,
you could be the drummer in Ottawa, in Toronto, Montreal, New York, Chicago, and play 7 nights a week, no stop, and you won't have time. You will be busy as a
right.
musician. Now we're in a completely
That
new
would be,
story. And
yes,
you cannot live as just as you can do, but you will have curves and roller coaster years. And it's important to be cool with different options as a musician. And I think I really like that way to think about. It's not a backup plan, it's just you're a musician and you have other things, because you're completing that things around you as a
right.
musician is very good. And I'm sure the student, they feel it when they take lessons with you. You enjoy the moment. You're not like just trying to pass the time and say, okay,
Well,
20 minutes more and it's done.
yeah, totally, totally. Like, yeah, I think it's so important that it's the motive. You know, it's the motive shouldn't be like what I mean by the backup plan too is it's not because I can't perform, I don't enjoy it. It's just it's the main thing. You know, it's my main thing. My in terms of drum stuff, I do play. Obviously, I think that's also important to be a teacher. You should also be still playing and working on your craft. You know, and just building up your own musicianship. But as in terms of like what I do the most as a profession is teach, and it's because I love it. It's it's number one to me. I love it, and
Yeah, I have
I
a few
think
friends like,
that's
sorry,
I
go
think
ahead.
students can feel that too. No,
Hmm.
no, I was just saying I think students can feel that too. Like you were mentioning, it's like they can understand like they know that it's coming from a place that I'm not just you
For
know
sure.
you know putting the time in and taking the money. You know what I mean? They know that I'm serious about trying to get them to get better and better and just that kind of thing. So the motive is good for that.
Yeah, I hope the motive is good, because I was checking in your resume. You've been teaching for a long time at Long and McQuaid. You're probably one of the old
Yeah,
drum teacher,
yeah.
like in the entire
I've been
Canada. Like it's so cool.
no, I know I've been there since 2005 with for a contract, and you know the contract's every year, and but yeah, since 2005 I've been doing it, and so I do with Long McQuaid. I have students, and also on my own here in my studio here, I have my own students as well, and it's just great. It's great.
It's amazing.
Very
Do you
committed
are you
to
the
it.
kind of teacher to sorry, by the way, I don't want to be unpolite, but I realize we have like a little 1 to 2 second delay when we talk now in the recording mode. So I only want to let you know.
Okay,
I don't want you feel I'm
okay,
cutting you. It's just we have that delay. It's probably the
okay.
internet connection.
Oh,
So I'll need to let you know. Okay.
there's the delay. Okay,
Yeah, exact. Um,
all
I
right.
have I have a question about that. You just said like you've been motivated, you're teaching. Are you the kind of as a teacher, are you using like different kind of books? Are you the kind of person writing your own exercises for your student, or you really like go with the flow?
Very
How
good.
you manage like that math material to work with them?
Yeah, I think like I have like a ton of drum books. I've over the years,
Yeah.
for me myself, I've taught myself so much, with lessons and everything too. But I have, I've gone through so many books. But interestingly, I don't work with tons of books with every student. What usually there's a couple of mainstays like Ted Reed's Syncopation. We use that.
Yeah,
You know,
all the
the
time.
only thing with that one is that it's pretty dry for a young person looking at that. It's not always the best,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
you've got a
Yeah.
7-year-old, sometimes it's not enough. It's like, yeah, it's a bit dry. So it's a great book, but so we still do it. But for that, if they're young kids and they're working on it, we'll still do it. But I'll tell them, you can color inside of it, make it look exciting,
Oh yeah.
because and I tell them, we're not doing it cover to cover. We're working on some of it, but yeah. So that one is a book I use almost all the time. for every
Yeah, like me.
level. It's still a good mainstay. But I use other ones too. But I think most of it comes from, and it's maybe also some from lessons I've been taught. It wasn't so much here, take a book and work it through with a teacher. A lot of times it was like the teacher has their stuff in their head and they write the exercises. And that's a lot of times that's what happens. I have lots of exercises that I've written, and then I kind of like take it and individualize the exercises for whatever the student's working on at the time, and we go from there. A lot of times students have like, they want to learn some songs, right? So we work through that. Then we'll do some transcriptions, or I'll write something out, or sometimes even better, I get the student to figure it out too. So they're listening and, you know, ear training, so they can figure it out and write out some transcriptions. So a lot of the lesson material is that. But then I do still reference books. The Vic Firth posters. I don't know if you remember those.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
I don't think they still produce them, but it was the Tommy Igoe Groove Essentials.
The Tommy Igoe.
There's a
Yeah,
posters,
the Tommy Igoe.
There's a Rudiment poster. Yeah, like they have the big posters, and so those are also really great. I've used those a lot with every student. The, you know, funk grooves and all this stuff. There's good posters there. So that would be like a part of the curriculum as well, you know, in terms of like printed materials. But a lot of it, like I said, is coming from my own experience and trying to give students some stuff that I created that I think is great too, that helps them. That's part of it. Big part.
Yeah, that's good. You just said something like one of my friend teacher, for you, because you mentioned color them, put colors on the music sheet. One of my friend teacher, what he did, he put the Remo color skinhead, like they have the like red, real yellow, I don't know, the color something.
Yeah.
They have different colors, so he put different colors on each thumbs. And he is writing the notes in the color of where they want to. Even if the notes, let's say it's a thumb, you will put the notes as it should be a thumb, but the note will be red there, and the floor tom will be green, and bass drum will be black, let's say. So
that's a good idea.
So the kids love it, and they're like, "Hey, cool."
I've never thought of that, but that's actually that's a great way to do it, especially the younger people. I think, you know, for the younger students, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, it's a great because they see color, and like you said, I so agree with you. Syncopation can be dry, can be so like, because at first a lot of people are like, it's super easy. It's like there's 8 notes, quarter notes. I'm like, oh, it's not the way we work that book. There's a lot of different ways, and a lot of notes that are not there. You will need to imanigate, to think about them, like you figure out where they are. For the, let's say you put a samba bass drum with hi-hat on the bottom, and you will read only the top on snare, but you can see you can also use the top, and instead of being 4/4, you go in triplet fill, and you will add ghost note in between each note. You know, there's whatever. It is no ending. But it's too high level for some kids.
Yes. So it's not great for everybody, especially those young kids, but you can make it fun for them too. And and that's why I tell them. I always tell them, you know, this, you know, we're just working on a few pages, and usually I use that for the young people, just to get them used to 16th notes, like you said, triplets, 8th notes and quarter notes, and the rests, and getting a little bit of reading happening, you know, especially early on. It's good.
Yeah, that's important. Hey, the time fly, and I still have a few things I want to discuss and talk about your path. First, let's tell us why you're starting to play drum. What was the starting point to be a drummer? You had like an experience as a family member was a musician. You saw like Neil Peart live. You were 5 years old. What was your starting point to be a drummer?
You know, it's really, I don't really know exactly what got me hooked, but my brother was playing guitar, and so he was playing music, and he showed me some things on the guitar too. And this is what I was probably, I guess, 8 or 9 at that point. And, you know, I liked it, but I don't know. I didn't get into it too much. But then he played a lot of music, like Genesis, Pink Floyd, lots of that stuff. And then Kiss. And then Kiss is, I think, what got me, because I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then that got me hooked. And then I thought, I think, you know, I'd like to try drumming. And so, I built some, you know, I like pots and pans and Tupperware. I used all that stuff, and I was banging around, but I couldn't get a drum set at that point. Like, it was just wasn't in the cards for my, my family, whatever. No drums yet. And so, so then it was like, not until when I got into grade 7 at school, I joined the band. I took a music class, and then I got the drum set. And then once I had that drum set, that was it. And it's ever since then. And so I was 12 at that point. Ever since then, it's just been, and I don't know exactly why. Like I loved it so much. I would just practice, and it was always about drumming all the time. Like that's all I was doing for, I still
So
do
cool.
it. That's it. It's crazy.
So cool. Because I realized you did.
Yeah. And so
yeah, for sure. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't say it. There's that internet delay.
Yeah, there's a delay. Yeah. No, I was like only mentioning like, because with what you did a lot, and I was checking like too, like you started to play drum, and later I wanted only to mention you even did your bachelor degree in drums, like in music, like so. But to jump to only for fun to that is good.
Yeah, but I got to correct you. I didn't do a bachelor degree in music. I did. I taught for 1 year or 1 semester or 2 semesters, I guess, for Carleton University Bachelor of Music. I actually, my background is actually like my educational background is child and youth work. I took child and youth work, working with people in special needs and young offenders and stuff like that. Was actually what I studied. And but I always been doing the drums, all the time.
Wow. Okay, sorry, because I didn't know, because I only see Carleton University Bachelor of Music program, so I didn't know if you finished it, but sorry about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, it's a small, but like what I did study with the child and youth work course, I think like all the stuff that gave me, because I worked with people with autism for many years as well, and I think what ended up happening is that the skills you build from that kind of environment, the education, I think that comes across and has helped me as a teacher, just to relate with people, understand where they're coming from, and to the point sometimes, I've had students too where sometimes it's drums, but then they start, talking about other things that are problems that they're having. So it almost becomes, a little discussion session and a little bit of drums, but sometimes it's just a lot of like helping them get through something. Not everyone's, sometimes there's other things in people's lives that are, having difficulties or whatever. So sometimes lessons go in a different way than you think them too, but I think the working in the special, that helped me to sort of understand, relating to people that way too, which is helpful as a teacher.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because you can help them in some ways, because some kids, they need to be attached to something. They need like some kind of target when they have like some problem or whatever, like whatever things they have in their life. So I'm sure when music or sport always have been great options for special kids, you know what I mean, like for everybody. But I mean, when you have a special kids and they really have something that will target him, and they're very good at it, actually, they're sometimes super talented. They will learn very fast because they will focus crazy on the instrument, maybe more than everybody. So I think it's super nice. It's a good experience for you, and I'm sure not just as music aspect or teacher aspect, but as a person aspect, you that bring you emotion and different sense, like a feeling about like to work with people like that and make you growing as a person, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. And just it's part of the whole thing about teaching is you're developing a relationship with someone, and I think that's really important. And a lot of times I'll tell when parents are trying to find a teacher, let's say for a young person, it's always good to see if you connect to someone, like not just go to this guy because he's closest. Sometimes the guy further away or the girl further away is going to maybe be a better fit. You know, some people get along better than others, you know, and I think that's a big part of it. You just can't, you should try out every teacher first and then pick the one that suits you the best, you know. It's very, I think that's very,
for sure.
very big.
For example, I didn't work like that extreme like you've done, but like before, but I did teach in a high school in Quebec for 2 years, and a long time, like around 2009, 10. And they give me a group with special kids. They have different problems, whatever it is. And at the beginning, to make you respect you, it's something, but they're so like focused, talented. So the moment you have them and they like you, you can do whatever. At the end of the year, we're doing like songs, completely songs. And some kid didn't play nothing. At the end, they were able to play trumpet, saxophone, drums, like a bass, you know, and basic stuff, but not that basic. Sometimes they really dig into the music and they learn it well. So and because for them was like a gold. So when they were coming into my music class, was their surprise of the week, you know, was like their cake here, you know, like they were like, yeah, let's do that. So we're like enjoying the moment, and this is cool. And they give them like they're proud, and you know, they're happy to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So it is cool.
Yeah, and that's big. And you were the motivation for them. You know,
totally.
You help motivate and get them to go into it. That's just great.
Yeah. And I will make a link what you were mentioning when you started to play drum. You were doing drums all the time. Like, I mean, you were really into that. I was really into that. It's funny because a lot of my friend kids, they were really into Nintendo and all computer games. I was not in that. My family gave me like all the toy with computer, like Game Boy and all those things. I was not the kid for that, but I was jumping on my drum 2 hours. Sorry?
So funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, like I totally relate to what you're saying there. Yeah. So you didn't do any of the video game stuff. You were just going on those drums.
Yeah, I jump fast. Huh? I started to play the drum. I was 3 years old. But my point is like when I was a kid. So I was playing the Lego block, you know, and G.I. Joe and Transformer. But when I jumped, teenager, 12, 13, all that thing were in a bag, and I was just playing drums, you know. So was a funny time. But
that's it. Yeah,
that was it. So well, but the time still fly. But I'm not done. To continue in that, I've seen when like back in the days, like around like 15. 10 years, 20 more years more back, you were doing like competition. So for example, you did the Mapex. You were in the top 3 finalists of the Mapex Drum Heroes competition. You did the first place by 1 stroke, but like I mentioned at the beginning, fastest drummer contest in Montreal. You did a few things like that. What was driving you? Because it's not that easy. You go in a place like that and you don't know who you're gonna have to deal with. You know, why was the motivation for that at that time?
You know, I don't know, just to see if I could do it. I think, you know, for the world fastest drummer one, that was just, you know, a fun thing to do. And I was practicing a lot of single strokes and trying to push-pull techniques. And it was just a little challenge I put on myself because I saw that the competition was coming to Montreal. And so I I drove out and I just did the competition that day. And it was just to challenge myself and try it. That was like a real fun thing, and it was good. And you know, it's a funny little side story on that. When it was a really windy day, and we're trying to hit these make the sticks go as fast as possible, single strokes, right? And it's windy, and I just remember like I could feel the wind kind of like hitting the stick, and it would just, you'd feel it move the stick, and it was just a weird little thing that sticks out in my head about those competitions. And what happened too, and I use this experience from that with the students is the value of practicing. Because what happened was we had to do, you do your minute, right? You do your single strokes for a minute, and then they clock how many you do, right? So and then you have to do rounds and rounds and rounds. Like you don't just do one or two. You got to do it. So I do one round, and then there'd be 20 minutes or so in between, and then I'd go practice on my practice pad that they had a bunch there, I think, and I would just practice my technique, right? I just keep practicing.
Yep.
And what ended up happening was because I would always be doing this practicing in between, I would do a round, practice, and I do better, and then I do more practice. Sure. Like it was just in between. There were these little sessions where I was practicing, and it just shows like the value of just warming up and actually just keep doing it. You just keep doing it, warm it up, you get your techniques going, and then it gets better and better when you do it. So that was an interesting, two things about that were interesting. And the Mapex Drum Heroes, that was, I think, like, I just had a bunch of ideas, at that point, just in my head about, soloing. Like at that time I was practicing left foot cascara, right? Or cascara, and then left foot clave at the same time. So I'd be playing two bells, and with one doing one and one doing the other at the same time, which I thought was kind of a cool thing, a technical thing, difficult. I practiced it, and so I wanted to sort of try as an outlet. I thought, okay, you know what? I'll just do this. And another part of it was like as a challenge to myself, because doing that kind of thing, I'd never really been in a solo environment. I don't do a lot of drum solos where it's like open solo. And I thought it would be a good challenge for me to just do it. And it was there. And so I thought, okay, let me see what can happen. And I also, part of my motivation on joining that contest was because one of the end results was to do a drum clinic, or you'd be invited then to do a drum clinic. And I thought that would be very cool to do. And so that was at that time, that's what I did. And then, I got third place, but I was happy with that. It was a good thing. And I enjoyed it. It was a good process, and I learned a lot.
For sure.
When you have to submit videos all the time, it's good for your drumming to challenge yourself in those ways sometimes, I think, anyways.
Yeah, totally. Are you still in shape? Are you still in shape to do the fastest right now? Could you win? Could you win the fastest hands in the world?
Well, no, because I don't know, to be at like a speed is incredible. Like, guys hit, Mangini hitting, above 1,000, like 1,000 strokes in 1 minute. It's kind of crazy. I mean, and you got to separate that. That's not a musical thing. It's a fun thing, and it's a technical thing. But no, I haven't actually tried, to be honest, in probably since that contest back in, I think that was 2000 something. So it's wild.
Yeah, you said 2009 the Mapex, and 2002 the one stroke. So the fastest, the WFD.
Okay,
so
2002,
that's
yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand you 100% because
I haven't really sat down.
No, go ahead.
Oh, like I just said, I haven't sat down to do that since 2002, but I have done it with students actually. I took them out and just to get them to practice and just to just on a technical level, just to sort of get so they can see, what they can do. And I remember one time I brought it to someone and they did a great job with it. They kept going and they practiced with it for a lot, and it was motivating to them because they could see a number and they could say, okay, well, can I get my sticks to do this? And you can't get the sticks to move that fast without good technique. You have to have good technique, and you have to practice your technique to make the sticks move like that, right? So it's a good motivator for some people, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Because I went one time to the NAMM show. I went million of time to the NAMM show, but one time I assist to the competition for the fastest hand, and I didn't go the day after was the fastest foot, so I didn't check that one, but the hands. And they were million of people, not million, but 100 of people waiting for pass, But there they didn't have round. Like well, maybe I didn't. I was there for an hour. I see a lot of guys passing, but. You have to register, and I was too lazy, so I didn't want to do it. So, but I think it's a commitment, like you said, to change, to try, to thrill yourself, to challenge yourself to do something like that, and you can see the number anyway. And warm up is important too. A few people of mine student, I mean, I'm telling them, you need to find a way, because some students are like, it's so boring to do pads. So I'm like, well, you can find different ways to do it. You don't need to be only do technique pads. You can only see that as a warm-up. Watch a TV show, like a movie, read a book, and do your single, double, paradiddle, whatever. Like, change your mind.
Yes.
Use the paradiddle
Yeah.
on top of a
Yes.
song, and just do the paradiddle. Try find ways for you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't understand. I did the paradiddle last year. I'm done. I did it. It's like, it's not about that. It's like cooking. You have to use these and keep them ingredient in good shape, for like fresh. If not, you won't be able to cook well. So some of my students now, they realize, okay, I need to do that this way. So
yeah, and I like stealing practice time, I think, is what you're talking about, right? Like stealing the minutes. So you're.
But I wanted to go there. You
and you're practicing.
Yeah.
It's totally. I agree with you 100%. Like totally. And I tell people to do the same thing. And it becomes pretty easy to do. Like, and we don't really realize it, but you can easily get 5 to 10 minutes every day. If you just get a little creative with it, you think, okay, well, hold on. It's like, I have, my practice pad right here. I'm waiting for something to load, on computer or video game, maybe, whatever. You can practice your still strokes with one hand. All that kind of thing is very helpful. And I think it's easy to do. And what's great, and I try to tell the students too, is that if you can do that, if you even do, let's say 10 minutes every day, you spend on a paradiddle by just finding some room in your day to, just do it on the practice pad or whatnot, is at the end of a month, that's a lot of minutes, and then at the end of a year, that's a lot of minutes that you would not have done if you just didn't have that in your head to just go and do it. And it's multitasking, you're just doing a couple of things at the same time, maybe. And it's easy
totally.
to do.
Because
you got to think about doing it.
Yeah, because you wrote that, stealing the time, stealing a minute or stealing a moment for doing it. And I was thinking it's interesting because it's so easy to say I didn't have time. Like it's easy, whatever in our life, whatever person, I don't have time to do that, I'm busy. Okay, it's okay, but you need to check what are your targets and can you reach it, depend of whatever. You can study photo, like picture, like photography, and like, okay, I don't have time, I'm so busy, but I'm studying photography. Well, okay, you can take it with your phone or camera, like, but let's see how you're going to progress, because you don't have time. But drum is the same, or music, whatever instrument is the same. And I think stealing the minute is good. I have students, they are crazy like that. I mean, they have 2-3 pads in their house. I have other, they have only their space. They are practicing on the table, on their pillows, whatever. But I think it really, whatever you do, there's no excuses. You can like play a drum beat on your chest, on your legs. You can do visualization for progress more as a musician. There's always ways to make it, So it's only how you're going to manage that time, and it's okay. It's good.
And I agree with that. That's totally true.
And it's important, like to I think as a teacher, to make the student understanding that, but as a student too, to understanding if you commit to something or you invest time in something, you need to find that time to practice. And so
that's true. And
it's connect with no sorry.
Like even on the same note is, we're talking about the technical practice, right? But even if you just if it's so easy to listen to music, and so many people do listen to music, right? Is to, as you're listening, instead of like listening for pleasure, where you just is listen with intention, like trying to figure out, oh, what do I hear? Do I hear the bass drum? Do I hear, and this can be done as you're listening to some music, instead of, just using it as background. It's now you're focusing, and it becomes ear training. And that to me is also very big music, like practice. That's practice right there too.
Sure.
So, and sometimes people listen to music just for pleasure, but you can also listen to it and be a little more analytical, and that's good practice too,
So a good trick, easy, as more like as a music geek, you listen to music and you count. You just count for figure out. Some of my students, I'm like, where's okay, let's say you put like CCR, it's quite easy. But if you put like Dream Theater, okay, it's another story. So you have, there's different counting. So of course, if you go in 16, 13, some parts is hard for a beginner, but there's ways to make that count easier with target point. So as a musician, it's a good exercise to try to count musics,
Right.
different music, yeah, different styles, and just to open your head. And I always told my student, please, I know you're a punk rocker, let's say, or you're like a metal guy.
Yeah.
Go check out other style, even if you don't like it.
Yeah.
And in some time, they will say, I discovered that jazz band and I like it, but I don't like jazz. Of course, because there's 1 million different kind of play jazz or metal or rock
Hmm.
or punk rock or pop. So
Hmm.
it's to find the right type of jazz. When I was kid, I was not into jazz. I like Buddy Rich, like big bands and like all those big band things. I was really in love
I,
to it. But jazz,
yeah.
jazz, like a restaurant eating a soup and
Yeah.
like doing the fake book,
Yeah.
not my cup of tea.
Uh,
But when I was 16, 15, I've been introduced to tribal tech. So
oh,
now,
yeah.
whoa, I discovered Kirk Covington and all those guys. So I was like completely like
Big,
overwhelmed,
yeah.
but it was a
Yeah.
jazz, but I didn't know what it was. And after that, Uzeb and other like
Yeah.
fusion band.
Yeah.
And that bring me into the jazz. And after that, I've been able as a musician to understand, okay, this is Coltrane, I like that part, or this is
Right.
Davis. And you can
Yeah.
put what you
Yeah.
like and what you like less, and it's normal.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Yeah. And so, but that was your gateway to listening to the other stuff
Exactly.
was the, yeah, that's totally great too. And I think I try to do that too. Just trying to get students to listen to other styles, not just, the style that they love the most. It's totally valid. And, I
Yeah.
always tell them too, is like, if you practice, if you really like, heavy metal, really,
Hmm.
and you love that double bass and everything, if you still practice a nice bossa nova,
Okay.
it's totally different, right? Sound wise, but you're developing a touch, with
Yeah.
your sticks and the
Yeah.
sound, the volumes, everything's different about the energy of the groove for, the two different styles of groove.
Yep.
One's not better than the other,
No,
but
no.
if you're able to do that type of energy and that type of energy, and then that one and that one, all different styles of grooves, different styles of music, it's so much better for whatever style you love the most at the moment, because you're
Oh, for
developing
sure.
the facility is being developed, so it opens you up, I think, a lot,
A lot. Yeah.
and
I like
that's
that idea
important.
because, sorry.
And that's pretty important, I think.
Oh no, it's super important because
Yeah.
Steve Smith was saying in a clinic long time ago, like in '98 or something,
Mhm.
try to play everything you play at a slow tempo and a fast tempo, but at a low level and a high level. Because
Yeah.
if you're used to play a big rock, Led Zepp kind of music,
Yeah. Yeah.
play
Yeah.
that same song but
Yeah.
soft, but same speed, same energy.
Yeah.
So he was expressing, it's like it's weird. It's
Yeah.
like, but
And
it will help you to growing up as a musician and adapt to
yeah,
different styles. So
yeah,
I think it's a good
you're
approach too.
totally true. And I've been using that approach too. We may have been at the same
Okay.
clinic,
I suppose
but
was Ital Melody in Montreal.
okay. But that whole idea of playing softly, has been something, I think, personally, I'm just practicing that a lot. Like when I'm practicing, I'm trying to bring things down. It's very, and, I tell students too, it's very easy to play
Hmm.
drums loudly. It's very
Yes.
easy.
Yep.
And, some music you have to, it's part of the music, the style, but it's nice to have the dynamics, obviously, but it's also so good, I think, just to be able to turn down your own volume and be your own, your own in charge of that, and not let your excitement make you play louder just because you're excited, all that kind of thing, be able to control the sticks to play the drum set quietly. I think it's super good to practice. So I
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
that a lot personally. You too?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I don't have option because here I not this apartment, but the one we had for the past years, we couldn't play that loud. I could play during the day. I have a
Yeah.
real kit, but not like I have like a mezzo piano volume
Okay.
ish,
Yeah.
I couldn't like be too forte, like we need
Yeah.
to be
Yeah. But
controlled. So I was
that's
speaking,
what
like we had a few technical problem, but it's okay, it happens. It's live. That's part of the game. That's no worry. Well, but we're good to go because we passed the time. So um,
yeah.
for the end, can you tell us where the people can reach you for getting lessons with you? You have social media, website, whatever things you would like to promote, bands or whatever. It's your moment for your
Sure.
publicity.
Sure. If they want lessons or anything, talk drums, whatever. I have a website. I guess that's a bit old school now, and it's not super updated, but it's easy for me to reach me there. It's drumhead.ca. That's
Drumhead.ca.
the website, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram too. But that's my main thing though, is just people reach me normally through the website. And other than that, yeah, then and I'm playing in two bands right now. One band is an 80s band, which is kind of fun, nice, good people dancing. We just started getting back into playing again regular, like everyone else.
Okay.
And then I also have a Latin jazz band. It's a trio. And that one we haven't played since our last show was right before COVID started, and we haven't done anything since then, obviously. But that I'm hoping in 2023 we'll start getting it going again, and that one's a lot of fun. We play a lot of great stuff, and that's I've been with the piano player. I've been playing with him for a long time, since I think 1997. I think we started playing together, so it's been a long time, and he's great. It's a fun band.
Amazing.
And that's pretty much it.
Well, I wish you good luck with those projects, and plus your teaching. So thank you for being part of Drumfills Kafé. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Actually, we could continue for hours and hours, no problem. So I think I really like to talk with you, and let's try to keep in touch, my friend. It's if we can.
Sounds good, Eric. Yeah, very nice. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm very flattered by it.
But it's our pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a nice day. Thank you for Bryan to be part of Drumfills Kafé. Like I said, if you have any comments or any question, you can write directly to him. Or if you don't know how to reach him, you can always contact us, and we're going to forward all your questions to Bryan. And just for finish, I really suggest you to subscribe to your social media, YouTube, TikTok. We have Instagram, the Facebook. I will say Facebook is the main page for us, but Instagram is running too. If you have also more questions, you are our interrogation, or you want to discover more Drumfills Kafé, go on our website, drumfillskafé.com. You will find everything about what we've done for the past 3 years. So on that, I wish you a good day, and let's keep in touch. Take care. Bye-bye.